Oh my god, oh my god. Yes! That rules. Okay, hi everyone. I realized that like the way I kind of like frame things now, it's not great, but you know what? Okay, so I'm adding this part after I filmed the video, so I'll put it at the beginning, but just know that this is like after I filmed everything. But I think this video can be more of like a kind of podcast type, where maybe I'll like put other footage over it, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling pretty insecure right now about how I look, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't actually mean anything, just how I am doing emotionally, whatever. But I'm thinking I'll put like other footage over it so that this can be something that you listen to maybe while you're doing something else, or while you're going for a walk, or while you're like, you know, doing the dishes, folding laundry, or whatever. Just something to like listen to and have with you like while you're doing other stuff. One day I'd love to have like an actual podcast, but I think my videos also kind of are podcasts if you just don't watch them and just listen. But anyway, so I thought I would add that. But so I thought that, well, first of all, my name is Grace if you're new here. It's also still Grace if you're not new here. And I make videos about like body image, lifestyle, other stuff. I kind of don't know. I'm kind of all over the place, and that's okay. But something I've kind of talked about recently in some of my videos is like how I'm not, like I'm no longer trying to live for other people. I don't want what I do to be for men. I don't want kind of like the way I behave and act and conduct myself in my life, and the activities that I do, to be for anything that's like less than authentic. So maybe it's for myself, or it's for people where I care about them and they care about me as well, and there's like reciprocated energy. And something I want to touch on with the idea of like living selfishly, or like prioritizing your mental health, I think there's a very, very big difference between focusing like on your happiness and your own fulfillment and like trying to build that up, and being like, I am more important than everyone else. Because there's this kind of like I don't owe anyone anything culture that's formed over the years as people get more into self-care and like focusing on their mental health and that sort of thing, and that's great to be focusing on those things, but there's also the kind of selfishness and self-care where it's like my feelings, my needs, my everything is more important than everyone else's. And sometimes people use that as like kind of a reason to do whatever they want, no matter how it harms other people, because it's like good for their mental health. You know, like I've had people who were really bad friends be like, well, I don't owe anyone anything and like that sort of thing. But I believe that we do owe people things. I think we owe other people like basic human decency and like kindness, honesty. I think we deserve to help each other. I think we owe it to ourselves, to each other, to like look out for each other. I think that's just something that we should do for everyone else. So when I talk about being more selfish in your life, what I mean is not focusing on yourself at the expense of other people, but I mean not making yourself small for other people. And so what I guess, if to clarify that like a little bit more, I think maybe if you're in a relationship, whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, or whatever, where you're constantly giving 90% to the relationship and the other person's giving maybe 10 or less, or like you go out of your way to be nice to this person or whatever, and they just kind of treat you like shit, or someone who like uses you or whatever, but you still show up for them. What I mean is basically taking care of yourself by not putting up with less than you deserve. And obviously in every relationship, it's not 50-50 all the time. So when I say that someone could be like, say you're giving 95% to a relationship and the other person's giving 5%, not really putting anything into it, not reciprocating your energy, your kindness, your whatever, sometimes that's just how it is, you know what I mean? Like we all go through things. So sometimes if I'm in a really low spot, I might be giving 20% to my relationships and the other person's giving 80%, and then I'm feeling better, and then maybe they go through something and it's like, okay, now I carry more weight in the relationship to like check on this person, make sure they're doing okay. So maybe for a while I'm giving 80 and they're giving 20, you know, like, so it changes because we all go through things. But I think in relationships where you value each other and where you're kind to each other and where you are, or where it's like a healthy relationship, obviously it's not 50-50 all the time, but I think the important thing is that it ends up kind of balancing out where you both give and you both receive and you both feel fulfilled in the relationship. So that's kind of what I mean when I talk about selfish living. Say you have kind of a half relationship with someone where they're very unclear about what they want, or like they clearly only want to have sex with you, or they clearly are only interested in you for one thing or whatever, like kind of not giving your energy to that kind of relationship anymore, or ones where they're taking a lot more from you than you're getting from them for like a consistent amount of time, or like it's always been that way, or whatever. So that was a very long-winded way of saying I disagree with the idea that we don't owe anyone anything, because I think fundamentally as people we do and we should. So I do think self-preservation and self-care is important, but I think a big part of taking care of yourself is that you can't show up in your relationships with other people or in the things you do for other people if you aren't, like, you can't show up as well as you'd like to if you're not doing well yourself. So I think taking care of yourself is important, not only for you, and it is very important for you, but also important for everyone else who encounters you and everyone who you have relationships with and everyone that you kind of like see in your day-to-day lives. So without further ado, I want to talk about what it means to kind of live a life for yourself and kind of like on your own terms. And I know that there are a lot of ways that we can't do that. Like, say you have work, you have your hours, you can't just do it whenever you feel like it, or same with classes, rehearsals, whatever it is. So living for yourself is not about being like, screw all my other obligations and everything that I do with other people, it's all about me doing whatever I want, like whenever I feel like it. I more mean like finding ways to preserve yourself and feel good within yourself. And so I want to tell you, it's not even an exercise, it's just something I decided to do the other day. I made a list in my journal called What Living for Me Looks Like, and I just wrote down a bunch of things that I would be doing kind of in my ideal life, or in the life where I'm doing the best mentally that I can be, and kind of like little ways that I can take care of myself to make myself feel better overall, because I think that it's very easy to let self-care take a back seat, and so I'll read to you some of my things just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. But I think if you could make a list and kind of implement these tiny changes in your life that can make such a difference in how you feel. So I have making sure I have a comfortable and safe home base, so a clean, pleasant, relaxing living space. And so next year I'll be living with roommates, and I have like, listen, the way I see it is, as someone who has OCD and who has trauma from stuff and who daily is like having to manage that, both of those things, it's not guaranteed that I will feel comfortable and safe within myself. So something that I'm realizing is important to me and my well-being is making sure that I at least have a comfortable external environment to return home to. And so living with other people, because right now I live with my family and I'm going to be living with roommates soon, I mean, you have no control over what other people do, but there are like little things you can do to kind of take control of your space. Like, maybe you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna make my bed every day, or I'm gonna get some stuffed animals just to make it a little more comfortable and feel safer, or I'm going to kind of make myself feel safer and comfortable externally by taking care of my body and like taking showers and doing things that kind of create a stable environment on the outside as much as possible, just to supplement whatever's going on the inside. And so that's just one example of something that I can do for me to make, I love her so much, to make my life a little bit better and prioritize myself a bit more is just making sure I have that space for myself. And then I have choosing to spend time with people where we are both good for and kind to each other, or both good for and to each other. Genuine, honest, kind, reciprocated energy. And then I have taking in media I like books, music, TV, and making time for it. And not having those as things that I'll do if I can or if I feel like it, and kind of just being like making that part of my routine so that I have those things that I enjoy doing, or like a podcast that I love listening to, or something like that just provides some stability and incorporates things that are just for me, just for joy, just because they make me feel good to do outside of everything else I do. Because obviously in between all of this stuff, it's not like I have all day, or like I'll forever have all day to just do whatever I feel like. But making time for little things that make you feel better and make your life feel a little bit more like it's yours and not like you're just going through the motions and doing stuff all the time for everyone else can be really important. And then I said getting in movement, independent of how my body looks, rarely using social media, maybe going on 3 times a week or desktop only, unless I'm posting something, and be present in and maintain connections with people. So like phone calls, remembering to reach out, not multitasking when I'm with people. Like that's something that's very important to me. I don't go on my phone when I'm with other people. And I just find that like the more you have real connections with people, and the more you like take time to call your friends or call your family members, or just like sit with people and do things and like be present with each other, like it feels so much better. So anyway, those are just a couple of the things on my list. But I also want to add that I was listening to an episode of the Mary's Cup of Tea podcast the other day, and it was one about how like why happiness is not the most important thing and what you should do instead of trying to be happy. And she was saying some things that I really agree with about how like happiness should not be the end goal, because that is something that is fleeting. It's kind of like just like I don't know, it's not something you can count on all the time. And so for me, I think it's more important to have like fulfillment and joy in your life and that sort of stuff. And she was saying how happiness is fleeting, but meaning is fulfilling. So she was talking about creating meaning in your life, and she was very specific about not saying finding meaning in your life, but creating it and like making it for yourself and like giving your life its own significance. And she talked about, I recommend listening to the episode and just hearing everything she had to say, but one thing she did talk about, and sorry, I'm kind of like a little bit red and like my voice is a little wobbly. I'm not anxious. I don't know why this is happening, but basically she was kind of talking about things you can do to kind of have more meaning in your life. And one of the things she talked about was the importance of rituals. So things that you do, whether it's like, she was saying how she has dinner with her mom each week. I think that's the example that she gave. Or maybe it's like you go for a walk every morning, or you make your tea every morning, or you know, you do your skincare routine, like things like that that just add some stability and habit into your life and make you feel better. And so I've been kind of incorporating that into my life a bit, or I've been trying to, and like making my matcha and making it ahead of time so it'll be all cooled down by the time that I want to drink it later. And just like little things that you can do for yourself that can make you feel so much better and that can make your life feel so much more meaningful. So yeah, I really liked I felt so much better after I made my list of things that I can do to make sure I'm like making sure there's space for myself in my life, and so that I'm like doing things for me and that make me feel good in addition to all the other stuff that I do. Because like life can be draining, life can be exhausting, but if I can incorporate these habits into my life, or these philosophies, or make time for doing the things that I enjoy doing and stuff like that, I find that I feel so much better. Whether it's like listening to podcasts, you know what, whatever, I don't want to like ramble on even further than I already have, but I thought I would just share that exercise with you because I shared it with a friend, And then the next day she was like giving me updates throughout her day of like things that she did that were for her and that like made her feel good. And it was just really, I don't know, I think it's something that I want all of us to think about more, because those little things that are just for ourselves are not really taught, like we're not taught to prioritize them, but I think it makes such a difference in how you feel overall in every area of your life when you're also doing things for yourself. So feel free to take that exercise or leave it, but I just thought that it was meaningful to me, and I liked what I've been learning about like happiness and meaning and, you know, ritual and all that stuff. So I thought I would just share it on here, and I hope it is good for you guys. I hope it resonates with you, and let me know. I think it would be cool to hear like what things you can do for yourself, or things that you might be adding to that list or stuff like that. So feel free to let me know if you want to. But yeah, so that is today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.